Hello everybody, this is Maniac for Bricks, and today we're actually doing a bit of updating in my beach town, Studside Heights. What we're doing now is, as you can see, I moved a whole bunch more vehicles into here, some of them friends, some of them city, and these are ones I kind of just want to keep around for a bit. As much as I was tearing apart Lego City sets in the past to make more space and find a better spot for them, so that I could rebuild them later on, these I kind of want to keep here for now, at least, for a little bit longer. I also moved the Vladix Dark Fortress, finally moved out of the city and onto this ledge after a great idea, and it's not really for display right now, but it doesn't look too bad. I'm really happy that I moved out of here so I could actually get some more space around here. I can move some more MOCs around, and I can play with the area and try to develop some better plans for the future of Studside Heights. What we're going to do in this video right now is work on this hospital MOC. I'll show it a little bit separately so you get to see the interior and the before we jump into the after. And it's also had a little bit of wear and tear over time. That plus sign fell over many times, and sometimes I forget to fix it properly, but I'm going to jump to it now just in case I haven't done a hospital MOC video for it before, so you get a refresher on what it looks like. So here we have a look at my hospital MOC. This is something that I wanted to improve on a previous idea about. In previous versions of my town, I normally have some sort of urgent care or medical center, somewhere that patients would go and be better treated. It's just something that seemed like a part of a town or a city to me, as much as police and fire do for Lego City. It usually gets not a lot of love or appreciation from Lego themes, and pops up every so often as an occasion, but it's something that I thought, well, I could always just build my own version of that and accompany even some previous versions of ambulances from Lego City in here. Previously, I've done like a very small 8x16 building that would have 2 floors to it, very, very minimal and very crammed. This I thought would be better for like something larger, and as a hospital, have a better look to it by this size. It definitely could be larger than this, so we'll get more into the revision ideas in just a moment after we go through what I've already established. What I really like through this is how the bottom of it was designed with the different windows and the sloping effect along them. I also like the inclusion of the giant plus sign here, so even from a distance, you know what building this is. Also, we have the flag here, which was from older hospital sets in like the 60s, maybe 70s, like just as minifigures were coming out, so I'd say like early 70s or so. You also have a sign along the front, which may be a little hard to see from this angle, but there we have it, from one of the, again, older hospital sets. I believe more recent, like in Lego City. There is a garage along this side where I can just fit one of the older ambulance sets. It's not my favorite one, but it is one that I find charming and still like compact enough to get the job done. There's enough room in there for this garage. It doesn't reach the ground because I didn't have a couple extra pieces, but it also helps so that there'd be enough room that I could lift this back up when I need to fit a vehicle back in there. Unfortunately, I don't have vehicles that better fit here. This is probably the best version of an ambulance that's already made that I can fit into this space. And even so, if I were to fit this to lower the garage door downward, it's only going to cover like that much, and it actually extends maybe 2 to 3 plates backwards behind the base plate. This MOC extends all the way to the back of the base plate, covering about 16 by 32 space for the building, and then the base plate that runs with the driveway is 32 by 32 with a couple fences for good measure. So we're going to go through this one layer at a time, and you get to see how the inside looks. So from the back side, you really can see how to like easily move minifigures in here, and very narrow for the hallway space along the top. But before we get to all of that, we're going to take this top layer off as well as the roof so that we can get access to the first floor. This has kind of a nice lobby inside of it. I do like how that winds up. And also, the ambulance does somewhat connect into the lobby area. There's actually a door on the side of where the ambulance sits so that people can walk through there for, personnel and staff. You can kind of see some of the door peeking out from this side. They could walk through here straight to the ambulance if they need to run out for an emergency. Other than that, we have a pretty extensive space for the lobby, enough chairs to go around and, relax, have some tables, maybe put some magazines in there. And we even have this area along the back that's supposed to serve as sort of a cafeteria or just some break room. It basically has one of those Friends printed pieces that I used as an ice cream machine, just hiding it behind another plane of a panel. There's also $1 that's sticking out there. It's actually supposed to be going into the machine, not out of it. And there's also a freezer up here where we have a coffee cup. I don't know. Wait. It doesn't really help that the door's on the other side, but now you can see the cup spilled out. So that's the idea. Kind of just a small break room, just an area for people to relax, try to get some beverages. You can see it here from the back mostly, and we do have some large supports that help it stand up. Kind of get in the way of where she's sitting, so a little claustrophobic there. But it still has a rounded desk in the front of it so that people walking in can figure out where they need to go for certain patients. And it's just enough space, at least for my setup here, that I can show it to you on the top corner there. She has a couple of panels underneath her, actually more simulated as slopes, so you can kind of see from this angle. So one of them is a computer, the other one works as it could really just be any mess of buttons. It doesn't have to be necessarily for a phone like it traditionally was. It could be used for like contacting like a PA system. It could be for emergencies. It could be for anything really. But they'd just be another set of buttons that the receptionist can use so that she keeps everything running shipshape. Now, as we move along here, we also have the second floor, which I actually set off a little bit to the side. You can see how it actually extends off of there onto the outside of the, not the outside of the base plate, but the outside of the building. And if I just remove this, you can get a look at all the rooms. So basically we have this hallway section where a couple of nurses stand outside several patient rooms. It's kind of narrow, but it still has enough that you could fit a minifigure along there. It is 4 studs wide from the door, so they could even walk sideways through here, or you could even fit a gurney or a stretcher to walk a patient through from one room to another. Basically, the outline of this is that there are 2 rooms symmetrical to each other for patients, and then the room on this side is for operations and more like checkup sort of things. So any more like instruments that would be used for medicine are going to be situated in this room. These are more for the visitors and for patients that just need to rest well. Each of these are actually nicely detailed so that, you can have a different minifigures go in and out of here at any given time. There's still space in there where you could have a bunch of them just hanging out and trying to relax. And you could even have doctors in between those rooms doing some routine checkups. What I do like about these is how each room kind of has a little bit more variety to them. For example, the one on the far side, you can see has a couple of figurines along their desks. So maybe they're a Lego collector and somebody delivered them, some Lego to cheer them up. They also have a couple of letters along the back, and they also have a radio and a TV. No, wait. It's just a radio. It's just a TV along there. They also have the cell phone hanging over on top of the TV. So, sometimes some rooms will have a little TV in there. The other one, not really fond of TV, but does like to listen to the radio, as you can see by the stickered piece over there. I apologize for the lighting. I'm trying to make this work, but it's just barely getting in there. You have a couple more letters along their bedside, but they still have enough room to fit in here. And it may be a little bit awkward as to how the pillow is arranged, but the idea is that if you fit a minifigure in here, you will actually have enough space where it looks like they're resting their head inside of the pillow. So, you know, it almost gives like an element of it receding. It could be a little bit better, as most things in this MOC could be, but at least gives you the idea there, and just having that as an example. So at least you have another chair in there that you could sit somebody and talk them with. Now this one is actually real fun for me, because I actually have Brickzapper, one of my sig figs, inside of here. I don't know why I didn't fit Brick Adjuster in here at some point, but Brickzapper has been here the whole time doing operations with this very nervous patient. You can see the blushing on his face when he sees the syringe next to him. This room has a couple of different areas for drawers. Instruments can be held in there. All different shelving units. And there's actually like a little bit on this side that was from an older MOC that basically serves as a step stool. That's to help with getting to some of these larger cabinets on the top. Some of them are in trans blue, some of them are in pink, and they have all different kinds of things in there. If I move Brickzapper out of the way, you can also see a small machine next to the bed, or next to this operating table, kind of just monitoring heartbeat and regular bodily functions and motions. I don't think there's anything actually in any of these drawers. I don't remember putting in any instruments. If they did, maybe it's just syringes, but we already got one out front. The hospital staff here is pretty friendly, and I think this one actually changed their hair over time. I had to use it for another minifigure, so that's how that happened. But still, you know, very diverse and very, you know, willing to help. They're waiting right outside of the rooms, so they'll be ready to help at whenever it needs to be. Also, a few lights along the wall here, just to have more to, in the minifigure world, light things up for the hospital, instead of them all just being ceiling lights. There's also this kind of crammed closet along the back side, along the side where we had the vending machine before for the ice cream, and this basically has a small barrel in it with a couple accessories. One of those accessories being a hairdryer, so if people need help with getting groomed, there's, you know, just one thing or two to help in there with that. It's a small closet, but it's still something that I can add other items into, and would be a nice way to fill this out a little bit more, so you really feel at home when you're in this hospital. Mainly the top is just the top. It's nothing too much beyond being a roof, just to hold things together. There is an AC unit over here, or at least a simulation of one, from an old Star Wars Imperial shuttle piece that is a printed tile slope tile. That one is a printed tile with a couple studs on it, and this H on here could represent hospital, but it also could be for emergency landings of helicopters. I did, as you saw before, see have a helicopter on top of here, so it gave an area where that could be properly dispatched, and also bring back patients that may be a little bit farther out from the beach town. I thought, honestly, this was a cool start to a hospital MOC. I've never actually built one like this before, but it definitely has a lot of character to it. I do like how it adds some of the color scheme of white and red all throughout the building. However, I'm not really a fan of how some of the rooms were designed. There could be some added details and improved bits here and there for just little mechanisms or machines. The garage area definitely could get some improvement, so you could have a larger vehicle fit in there and not be so stuck. I honestly think if I move this hospital out by a few studs, it won't hurt, and it'll actually help with fleshing out a little bit more of different rooms, different hallways, maybe closet space would be better. The lobby could be improved that way, and the garage will probably be the best thing to improve from that. I'm also not a big fan of all the gray that's used along the wall. You see, the mostly reason why I included that on here is because I had a bunch of large gray wall pieces from old Harry Potter sets, And every so often I use them in a different box or different parts of MOCs so that it fills up space real fast and I could get this building done sooner. The problem is here, it really doesn't work with the style of the building. It just makes a very drab second floor appearance that really doesn't match up with the first floor, and I don't think the gray really fits with the color scheme across anywhere else in the building itself. I think it would look a lot better if I had it in white, and luckily I have better parts that can do that. So if you'll join me for a bit, So, if you'll excuse me for a bit, I'm actually going to do a brief live stream on YouTube that would have already been published by now, so check the card up here. And I will revise this hospital. I will make it bigger and better detailed and probably a little bit brighter and maybe a little bit more consistent, because I noticed the red and gray for the windows there kind of troublesome. Probably fix up a couple other things all throughout this, while I dismantle it and rebuild it. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about this hospital MOC so far in the comments down below. I will have another video to go out tomorrow that will show the revised version of the hospital. And hopefully this time we'll actually get to fit a larger ambulance in there. I do have another one I prefer, but this one, at least for now, looks pretty nice. I don't recall if I actually did a video for this before, but I'm happy that I went through it again before it got the retouch. So, we'll see you next time with more LEGO videos, and stay tuned tomorrow for that revamped version.